about 12 or 13 years of practicing law, that there's absolutely no conflict between being a Sikh and having your identity and being successful in the legal profession in America. The larger challenge I found was entering this foray of politics. There are not many Sikh Americans who are involved in politics at the electoral level, and I've always been interested in politics growing up, just through my family's involvement and interest, and I never had intended to actually run for office. It was nothing that ever crossed my mind, but I eventually settled in the city of Hoboken after graduating from law school, and over the course of years I started to realize that the things that impact my life the most on a daily basis are not necessarily what's happening with my congressman or my US senator, but it's really that person who's sitting on the zoning board or the planning board or the councilman or the mayor who's making the decisions that control my life the most. So that made me really look at what was happening in Hoboken at the ground level, and what I saw was a lot of mismanagement of my local municipality's affairs. And I saw a governing body that I felt was not doing its job, and I was in my mid-30s. I did have a child, but I was relatively newly married, and I thought, you know, I can do just as well, if not better, than the people who are representing me now. But then that question came back to me. Can I run for office, having never run for office before, in a town that is 85% white, 12% Latino American, maybe 2 or 3% African American, and less than 1% Asian? Can I, as a Sikh American, run for office successfully as a first-time candidate? And the answer, I was told, was no, you can't do it. The political wisdom, as it was told to me, was that in order to be successful as a candidate for elective office, you need to come from a demographic. In Hoboken, the demographics are mainly Italian Americans, then Latinos, labor, senior citizens. I was specifically told, you know, how many Sikhs live in Hoboken, or how many Indians live in Hoboken, and you know, I said honestly, you know, my brother is in Hoboken, my wife and his wife, but they're not many. And one person told me, you know what, your turban and beard when you run for office will not go unnoticed. It will not go unnoticed. And they did not mean that as a compliment. They meant that to say that it's going to be an impediment on my ability to succeed in running for office. So I did exactly what I did when I first started out in my law career. You work hard and you organize yourself. You knock on doors, you stand at the bus stop at 6 in the morning, you engage people, you talk to people, and you literally do whatever you do in any other profession in the world to be successful. You work hard and believe in yourself. So I did that, and with time, out of 12 candidates running for 3 positions, I was fortunate enough to receive the highest number of votes in that election as a first-time candidate. I think that sends a message, not necessarily of myself, but really of the America that we live in now, that there is no conflict between being a Sikh and being successful in this country, at least in my experience. I think, you know, my limited success is proof, living proof of that lesson. So that's all I would you know, take away. There are a lot of good lessons we've learned from the other speakers. And I've taken in some lessons as well tonight, and I appreciate all the speakers. But the only thing I would impart upon the younger generation is that you can be successful in whatever you do, including electoral politics, and maintain your articles of faith proudly. There's no conflict whatsoever, and it's important for us to engage the private sector, to be successful in the private sector, to be involved in business, but also see the relationship between business and politics. Because as an attorney, I see the impact that legislation has on the rights of my clients in the workplace. I see the impact that legislation has on small businesses. And I even see the impact for my criminal defense clients on legislation as to their rights when they're accused of wrongdoing. So there is a very strong connection between being politically active and the political arena and the business arena. So I would tell the younger generation to never be afraid to engage in your community. You don't have to run for office, but even serving in any public capacity, public service, is very consistent with the Sikh ideal of seva as well. It's community service, and I don't consider myself as a Sikh elected official, but I really consider myself as an elected official who happens to be a Sikh. And I think just by doing that, hopefully it's a benefit to the Sikh community as a whole. So with that, I just want to thank the organizers for having me, and I hope this is the beginning of years and even decades of success. Thank you very much.
At this time, I would like to ask two of some of the earliest entrepreneurs from the Sikh community in this region. Hardyal Singh, who is the County Commissioner of Middlesex County Planning Board, and Bhai Avtar Singh, to come to the stage to award Ravi his honorary plaque. Entrepreneurs, give them a hand, everybody. Thank you. Thank you to all of our speakers, Jassi, Valerie, Manjeet, and Ravi. We truly appreciate you sharing your inspiring stories with us, and hope that they will be a guide to many of you, and I hope everybody has at least learned something, or hopefully will take something back with them today. At this time, I'd like to call up a man that really needs no introduction to any of us. One of the founding members of the SACC, Yadvinder Singh.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight and making this event a success. These speakers were great. They share their stories, their personal life, and give us an inspiration that we can do something better, especially for the younger generation, that they can climb that ladder that they've already done. We all came from the same basics. Came to this country, empty-pocketed, and start from scratch. We made our lives, we made our families, and we become part of a community. In the Gurdwaras, in the other community organizations, and I think the time has come when we need to thrive as a successful business community and part of this American dream. This is a small step in that direction, and there's a lot of things to be done in order to achieve its full scope that we have envisioned. But I think with the grace of Waheguru and with the help of everybody, we can do great things. All the speakers have emphasized on different issues, but one thing which I heard common in all of them is it's time for us, being entrepreneurs, being successful in our personal lives, to be socially responsible for our community and make our community a successful community. I hope we all join in this endeavor and we will make a good platform for our future generations. The challenges that we faced when we started our lives here, our kids don't have to go through all of them, and they will be more successful, and they will live their lives better, and they will be the future of our community as well as the American dream. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Being that this is Indian Standard Time, I should have at least another half hour. Wonderful! No, all kidding aside, seriously, I want to thank all of our speakers this evening. You were wonderful. I noticed that the men didn't laugh at that joke. Why? Only the women laughed. They understood it. It takes us a half an hour just to get out the door when you're calling us. Let's go, 1 second, just let me get my makeup. No, that's okay. So thank you to our speakers, our sponsors, our members, our directors, the wonderful volunteers that have been joining us to help put this together. It was not easy, believe me, but we all had a wonderful time doing it. Without all of you helping us, this would not have been possible. I also want to remind everybody, as you can see up on the boards, we have our next networking event on April 26th at Group Alice in North Brunswick. I hope to see all of the new members from this evening at that event. So if you would like to join, go online, register please. In terms of membership, we have the wonderful Ravi Jyot, who has been our helper at the SACC and has been absolutely wonderful. I wanted to give her a special shout out here because everybody, please, without her, this would not have been possible. Give her a round. So thank you, everyone. With that, let's eat. Have a good night.